Hey, what's up guys? Brian Kelly here from Zombie Guitar. Here in today's video I want to talk about 35 different scales. So I don't expect that you're going to remember all 35 of these scales. I know I don't have all 35 memorized, but what I do want you to understand is how the math behind music works. Alright, so if someone asks you, hey, what's 35 plus 84? And you don't instantly know the answer off the top of your head, that doesn't mean you don't understand math. You can still arrive at the answer by understanding how to do basic addition. So that's the same thing with music. You don't have to have all this stuff memorized. You just have to understand the basic arithmetic of music and you can arrive at the answers. So there's three main points that I want to get across in this video. Number one is that the major scale is the default scale. That is the one that has the scale formula 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Any other scale formula is some kind of alteration of that. So if you see the Lydian scale formula, which is 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, that just means you take the major scale, you sharpen the fourth note, and boom, now you have your Lydian scale. So that's the first thing I want you to understand from this video. The second thing I want you to understand is the naming conventions of these scales. So whenever you hear people talking about modes, usually they're talking about the modes of the major scale: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian. So that's like the foundational stuff. Get that stuff down. Memorize the 7 modal scales, which is going to be the first 7 scales in this video that we talk about. Know that stuff, because once you know that stuff, then all of the other scales, no matter how crazy they may look and seem to you at first, if you understand the basic 7 modes of the major scale, you can just kind of look at the name of these other crazier scales and figure it out. For example, if you see something like Lydian sharp 2, you just take the Lydian scale, but then you sharpen the second note as well. That's really all this stuff is. So start with the major scale, start with the 7 modes of the major scale. That's going to be the first 7 scales that we talk about in this video. And then you're going to see that the naming conventions of all the other scales kind of give you the information that you need. And then the third thing that I want you to get from this video is the fact that there are other scales that have modes. As I said, when people talk about modes, usually they're talking about the modes of the major scale. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the 7 modes of the major scale, the 7 modes of the harmonic minor scale, the 7 modes of the melodic minor scale, the harmonic major scale, and the double harmonic minor scale. So those are going to be the 5 primary scales, each of which has 7 modes. 7 times 5 is 35. That's how we get our 35 scales that we're going to be talking about in this video. Just understanding this is what I'm trying to get across in this video. So since we're going to be talking about modes of these 5 primary scales, it would definitely help to have an understanding of what a mode is, or what differentiates a mode from just a scale, or what makes a particular scale a mode of another scale. So that's all explained in my Modes 101 video. I will put a link to that here. Definitely check that out. That just starts at the very beginning and says, hey, what's a mode? What constitutes a mode? What's the difference between a mode and a scale? Blah, 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 all that stuff. Definitely check out that video before watching this if you don't already understand that stuff. Anyway, with that said, let's get into the 35 scales. All right, so every one of these scales, we're going to start on the root note C. So we're going to use this C right here, 3rd fret. So the first 7 scales are going to be the 7 modes of the major scale. The first one is the Ionian scale. This is otherwise known as just the major scale. The scale formula is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The second scale is the Dorian scale. That has a flat 3 and a flat 7. So that just means you take your major scale and you flatten the 3rd and 7th note. The third scale is the Phrygian scale. This has a flat 2, a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7. The next scale is the Lydian scale. This is 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. That means you just sharpen the 4th note of the major scale. The 5th scale is the Mixolydian scale. This is the major scale with a flattened 7. Next we have our Aeolian scale, otherwise known as the natural minor scale. This has a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7. And then we have our Locrian scale. This is a flat 2, a flat 3, a flat 5, a flat 6, and a flat 7. All right, so the next set of 7 scales that we're going to be talking about is going to be the harmonic minor scale and its 7 modes. So the harmonic minor scale and its 7 modes are not modes of the major scale because it has a different internal interval chain. This is all explained in that Modes 101 video. Basically, you arrive at the harmonic minor scale by starting with your natural minor scale and then raising the 7th degree. So the scale formula for the harmonic minor scale is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, 7, and then back at 1 again. You can also arrive at this scale by just starting with the major scale and then just flattening the 3rd and 6th note. The arithmetic works whichever way you arrive at it, you know? This is the math of music. So this is what the harmonic minor scale sounds like. Now we're going to look at the other modes of this scale. So the second mode of the harmonic minor scale is known as the Locrian 6th scale, or the Locrian natural 6th scale. The reason it uses that naming convention is because if you know your Locrian scale formula, it's just that, but then it has a natural 6 instead of a flattened 6. So it sounds like this. So you see that big stretch right there? That's that big stretch. That's that internal interval chain that I'm talking about that's not present in the major scale or any of its 7 modes. That big stretch is going to be present in all 7 of the modes of the harmonic minor scale. All right, so the third mode of the harmonic minor scale is called Ionian sharp 5, otherwise called Ionian augmented. So anytime you see augmented in the name, just think to yourself, sharp 5. Augmented, sharp 5, those go together. Again, look for this big stretch that's going to be present in all 7 modes of this harmonic minor scale. The fourth mode of the harmonic minor scale is called Dorian sharp 4. So again, if you know your Dorian scale formula, which is one of the modes of the major scale, just sharpen the 4th note and then you have this scale. So this sounds like this. So the 5th mode of the harmonic minor scale is called the Phrygian dominant scale. So anytime you see dominant in the scale name, that lets you know that there's a major 3rd interval in there and a flat 7 interval in there. That's because a dominant 7th chord, the chord formula for a dominant 7th chord has a major 3rd and a flat 7 in there. So dominant, just always remember dominant. Okay, major 3rd, flat 7, got it. Just like anytime you see augmented, sharp 5. These are the little cues that you look for in these names. So the Phrygian dominant scale sounds like this. The 6th mode of the harmonic minor scale is called the Lydian sharp 2 scale. So Lydian, you know what that is if you know your 7 major scale modes. It's a major scale with a sharpened 4. Well, now you just sharpen the 2 as well, and that's your Lydian sharp 2 scale. That sounds like this. So the 7th mode of the harmonic minor scale is called the Super Locrian double flat 7. Crazy name, I know. It has a ton of flat notes in it, like every single note is flatted in it, but then the 7th note is double flatted. Again, you can just look at the scale formula. You can start with the major scale, and then which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, flatten all your notes, and then double flatten that 7th note. Anyway, it sounds like this. That's the 7 modes of the harmonic minor scale. So now we're going to look at the melodic minor scale and its 7 modes. So basically the melodic minor scale is just like the harmonic minor scale, except it also has a raised 6th degree, or a natural 6th degree. You can start with your natural minor scale, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then just raise the 6th and 7th degrees. That will give you your melodic minor. You can start with the harmonic minor scale and just raise the 6th degree of that, or you can start with your major scale, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just flatten the 3rd. So the reason that the melodic minor scale exists is because you still have the same benefits that you're getting from the harmonic minor scale, which is that raised 7th degree. This is also known as a leading tone. The raised 7th degree, or the natural 7, is only a half step away from the 1. So if you're writing melodies in a minor key type of context, having that raised 7th degree only being a half step away from the 1 is advantageous sometimes, depending on what type of music you're trying to go for or what type of melodies you're trying to write. There's all kinds of theory behind it. Just look up leading tone. I talk about it in a bunch of my other videos. You can Google it. Leading tone, that's what it is. So the harmonic minor scale has that leading tone. It has that natural 7 in there. The melodic minor scale also has that same leading tone, that natural 7, but it eliminates that big gap, that big 1.5 step jump that you saw present in the harmonic minor scale and all 7 of its modes. However, the melodic minor scale is still a different interval chain than that of the major scale and its 7 modes and the harmonic minor scale and its 7 modes. Again, if you don't know what I mean by this internal interval chain that I keep talking about, make sure to check out that Modes 101 video. All right? So anyway, so this is what the melodic minor scale sounds like. It's just a major scale with a flattened third. The second mode of the melodic minor scale is known as the Dorian flat 2 scale. So if you know your Dorian scale formula, that's great. You just flatten the 2, and then you get this. The third mode of the melodic minor scale is the Lydian augmented scale. What does augmented mean again? That's right, it means sharp 5. So this is also known as the Lydian sharp 5 scale. Or you can just start with your Lydian scale, sharpen the 5th, or you can start with the major scale and just, whatever, sharpen the 4th, sharpen the 5th. It all leads you to the same place. Anyway, it sounds like this. The fourth mode of the melodic minor scale is called the Lydian dominant scale. What does dominant mean? That's right, it means it has a major third and a flat 7. What does Lydian mean? Because you've memorized your 7 modes of the major scale to start with before jumping into all this stuff, you know that Lydian has a sharp 4. So, sharp 4, and then it has the 3 and the flat 7 because that's what dominant tells you. It sounds like this. The fifth mode of the melodic minor scale is called the Mixolydian flat 6 scale. So if you know your Mixolydian scale, just flatten the 6th, and now you have the Mixolydian flat 6 scale. The sixth mode of the melodic minor scale is called the Aeolian flat 5 scale. You know your Aeolian scale, right? Otherwise known as the natural minor scale. That's the scale that has the 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. Now you just flatten the 5th as well, and then you get this scale. It sounds like this. The seventh mode of the melodic minor scale is again called the Superlocrian, but it's not called the Superlocrian double flatted 7 because it doesn't have a double flatted 7, it just has a flat 7. This is also known as the altered scale. It sounds like this. If you recall from the harmonic minor scale, the 7th mode of that had that big stretch in there between the double flatted 7 note and the 1. Remember, the melodic minor scale and its 7 modes eliminates that big 1.5 step jumps. That's why that's not present in this scale. Alright, so now we're getting really crazy. Now we're going to be looking at the harmonic major scale and its 7 modes. So the harmonic major scale is the major scale with a flattened 6th degree. It sounds like this. The second mode of the harmonic major scale is called the Dorian flat 5 scale. You know your Dorian scale, right? So you just flatten the 5th and then you have this scale. The third mode of the harmonic major scale is called the Phrygian flat 4 scale. This is a pretty cool sounding scale. Just take the Phrygian scale, flatten the 4th, bada bing, bada boom. The fourth mode of the harmonic major scale is called the Lydian flat 3 scale. So basically you just take your Lydian scale, which is the major scale with a sharpened 4, but now you have a minor third in there as well. Sounds like this. Fifth mode of the harmonic major scale is called the Mixolydian flat 2 scale. You have your Mixolydian scale, but you have a flat 2 in there, just as the name says. The sixth mode of the harmonic major scale is called the Lydian sharp 2 augmented scale. What does augmented mean again? That's right, it means it has a sharp 5 in there. What does Lydian tell you? Lydian tells you that there's a sharp 4. That's one of the modes of the major scale. Now it says sharp 2 as well. It's right there in the name. All right, so that's how you can take this name and figure out all that stuff. So it sounds like this. And then the 7th mode of the harmonic major scale is called the Locrian double flat 7 scale. It's not the super Locrian scale. Super Locrian is the term used in the 7th mode of the harmonic minor scale and the 7th mode of the melodic minor scale. Super Locrian lets you know that there's a flat 4 going on in there. All right, not a lot of scales have flat 4s in there. There's no flat 4 in here. But there is a double flatted 7. So this is the Locrian double flat 7 scale. If you know your Locrian scale, which is the 7th mode of the major scale, just double flat the 7th, bada bing, bada boom. Pretty cool. All right, so the 5th and final primary scale that we're going to talk about here is the double harmonic minor scale. So out of all 5 primary scales that we've looked at so far, we've looked at the major scale and its 7 modes. We looked at the harmonic minor scale and its 7 modes. We looked at the melodic minor scale, and we looked at the harmonic major scale. Now we're looking at the double harmonic minor scale. This is the 5th one, and this is the only one that contains 3 half steps right in a row in its internal interval chain. So because this scale has 3 half steps right in a row, that also means that all 7 of its modes are going to have 3 half steps right in a row at some point, because that's how modes work. A scale is considered to be a mode of another scale if it shares the same interval structure, internal intervals. Scales that are modes of one another are like a chain. It doesn't matter which link you call number 1, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, they go in the same order. This is all the stuff I talk about in that Modes 101 video, so I'm really just kind of briefing across this really quickly. But sometimes people will also talk about the double harmonic major scale, and that's just one of the 7 modes of the double harmonic minor scale. If you want to call double harmonic major 1, that's fine, and it still shares the same 7 modes. If you want to call the double harmonic minor scale 1, again, it still shares all the same 7 modes. We're just going to call the double harmonic minor scale 1 and start from there. Another name for the double harmonic minor scale is the Hungarian minor scale, or the Gypsy scale, or the harmonic minor sharp 4 scale. There's a bunch of different names for it. It sounds like this. And there you go. The 2nd mode of the double harmonic minor scale is the Mixolydian flat 2 flat 5 scale. That just means you take your Mixolydian scale, which is a major scale with a flat 7, and you flatten the 2 and the 5 as well. Super easy. This is also known as the Oriental scale. I'm just kidding, it's not super easy. This is crazy nerd stuff, so make sure you have your taped up glasses on as you continue through this lesson. The 3rd mode of the double harmonic minor scale is called the Ionian augmented sharp 2. What does augmented mean again? That's right, it means it has a sharp 5 in it. Now you also sharpen the 2 as well. The 4th mode of the double harmonic minor scale is called the Locrian double flat 3 double flat 7 scale. So if you know what your Locrian scale is, which is the 7th mode of the major scale, you just double flatten the 3rd, double flatten the 7th, and voila. And now we're at the 5th mode of the double harmonic minor scale, which is the double harmonic major scale. Remember we talked about this in the beginning? Well, the double harmonic major scale is a mode of the double harmonic minor scale, and vice versa. All right, so here it is. Neato. The 6th mode of the double harmonic minor scale is called the Lydian sharp 2 sharp 6 scale. You already know your Lydian scale, which is the major scale with a sharp 4. Now you sharpen the 2, sharpen the 6, and here you go. And then the 7th and final mode of the double harmonic minor scale is called the Phrygian flat 4 double flat 7, otherwise known as the ultra Phrygian scale. Sounds like this. Cool scale. All right, and there you have it. There's your 35 scales, your 5 primary scales, and the 7 modes of each of the 5 primary scales. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask, and thank you for watching.